Greetings. I am Rabbi Saul Zucker. I have the privilege of serving as head of school at Ben Porat Yosef. Welcome to Memories of the Mizrach. This project is a recorded history of the stories of Sephardim and Mizrachiim, the Jews of Arab lands, as they are often referred to in academic circles. Their stories are different, just as their circumstances and personalities are different, but they do have a few factors in common. The courage, the vision, the initiative, the hope and the faith that they could rise above challenges, Be'ezrat Hashem, with the help of God, and establish a new life, but keeping the culture and heritage that was the foundation of their earlier lives. These stories need to be told because they are an inspiration for all of us. Again, welcome to Memories of the Mizrach. I'd like to point out a very special thank you to the President of the Board of Trustees of BPY, Ben Porat Yosef, Rachel Barber Schwartz, for her vision, her initiative in getting this project started, to Fila Moshe for her efforts and her great spirit, to Robin Badash for her organization and her follow-through, to Evan Finkelstein and Yona Patinsky for their technical expertise and advice. Of course, to all of our beloved and cherished 7th graders for their creativity, for their research, for their dedication, and Acharonim Chavivim, the last most beloved, to our interviewees who shared their stories, their hearts and their souls with all of us so that we can learn, we can be inspired, and we can go on and continue their precious legacy and heritage. Enjoy this presentation.
My name is Fila Moshe. Fadila, it means something precious. I was born in Baghdad, Iraq. I have 7 brothers and 4 sisters. I was married 1947. I was 17 years old. Iraq is a beautiful country. They are Arab country. But I managed. My father was a lawyer. So it was easy for us. The Farhud, it was really terrible. I was in Baghdad at that time. We have a neighbor. We go to our home. I have few steps to reach my door. But I have a neighbor, a grocery, always protecting us. When they came, they want to knock the door on me. He said, this is empty, nobody there. They save us. It was crazy. I went to the roof to hide. It was really difficult. King Ghazi, he started killing, he started bombing whatever, and they start running the Arab. But King Ghazi was very loving to children. He was a grandma, she was very close to me. She's an Arab, but when I start speak Arabic with her, she loved me so much. She said, stay with me, don't go away. So we became little friendly slowly. Thank God, they were very nice to us. They help us a lot also. But really they respect us very much. But they are very nice people, very friendly. Whatever you ask, any question, they will be happy to show you the way in the street. If you're lost or something, they are very good people. We have electricity, we have everything. We were very comfortable. I have a lot of friends, Arab, and we are always together. We shop together, we eat together. I went to school because they speak Arabic. I can talk to them right away quick. I came alone. I took the plane. I went to Kobe. From Kobe, they came people from there to pick me up, to introduce me to the other people. And I get used to them because they speak Arabic. I speak Arabic. I went back, but I went with a friend just to see where I was to live, to show them, and then I came back to New York. It was a little difficult, I cried. Now I would love to see them again. If they will invite me, I will go running. Yeah, we have connection on the telephone. We have classes, and we sit and we have a teacher. When they teach us everything, I became one of them. At school we have exercise, we have singing contest. We had a lot of things in Japan. I learned how to speak Japanese with them. And the Japanese very friendly, very, very friendly. I love it. I wish I would be there. The Jewish community is great. We have a synagogue, my husband built it in Kobe. He's much older than me. He was in Japan, and he came back to Baghdad. We met, and we got married. He made it not very big, but for 10, 15 people, they can come and pray. And he was the chief. He used to read the Torah, my husband, and everything, it was okay for me. He was the rabbi. He was a shochet too, and he killed the chicken, but not cow, only chicken. He asked his grandfather, he told him, go to school and tell them what I want to do, and they will teach you right away. When he went to school, he asked for it. He told them, no problem, you can learn. He has 2 knives, my husband. One my son took it, one my grandson took it. Mikvah I have. My husband built it. He built mikvah, and people, they come to me. I will respect them very much to welcome. No, my husband was great. He knows everything because he speaks Hebrew, he speaks English, he speaks Japanese. I am passepartout. I am running after him. My husband was the chief of the community. He was the rabbi, and he used to read the Torah for them. And now they miss us when we are not there. I love you. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. You remember me?
Yeah.
Okay, I love you.
Ma Fadila left.
Oh, my favorite. How it came up all the way here?
You recognize the Torah?
Yeah.
So this is your husband's Torah? He read from this Torah?
Yes. Because when we were in Baghdad, the Sefer Torah was somebody else took it. But we said, we need it badly, this is our religion. And we took it back. By force, we took it back. I remain Jewish. I want my children all remain Jewish. We are always happy.
My name is Daniel Kalai. My parents decided to move to Israel when I was younger because they just wanted to get out of Iran and experience something a little bit different. And they figured it was a good opportunity when they were newlyweds to try it out. I was born in Israel. My parents moved back to Iran because that's where the family was, and they figured it was time to go back. The situation there didn't get any better; it actually got worse, and they decided to leave. And at that point, they couldn't leave the country the normal way. They had to escape the country. I was about 2 years old when my parents moved back to Iran, and when I was around 6, my parents decided to leave Iran. My family realized that they could no longer leave the country in the normal fashion. At that point in time, they were not really allowing Jews to leave. They weren't getting the right paperwork to be able to leave the country. Originally, my parents tried to get forged documents to leave the country. That was a very popular thing that a lot of people were doing back then, to get forged passports that had all the proper documentation to allow you to leave. Unfortunately, my parents tried that and they got caught. So luckily, there was we were able to get out of that situation and not get any jail time. But after that occurred, there was really no way for them to leave using any normal protocols. And what people were doing back then were using smugglers to get out of the country. After my parents found a group of smugglers that were able to get us out of the country, we pretty much had to get rid of most of our possessions. There really wasn't room to take much with us because we were essentially getting on a truck and getting over the border between Iran and Pakistan. The journey took a few days and with some stops along the way. And there was about 20 other people with us making that journey in this particular group. And we were the only family. Everybody else was singles, mostly teenagers. The only family was myself and my sister and my parents. So we got to kind of sit in the front with the driver, my sister and my mom, and everybody else was kind of in back of the truck for the most part of the journey. The life in Iran with the Jews and non-Jews got along just fine. There was really no animosity. I think the government had their own feelings on things, but the actual people and the citizens of Iran were all knowledgeable and very well-educated folks that just wanted to get along with everybody. There was one particular part of the journey where the smugglers felt they were being chased by the border police. They basically had to outrun them, and we were told to kind of go to this little village. They kind of drove us into this village, and they said, "Okay, just hide out here." They kind of gave us a safe hiding spot. They locked up the doors and windows, and they said, "We'll be back when the coast is clear." A couple hours later, they came back, they put us back in the truck, and said, "Okay, the situation has been dealt with," and then we continued on our way. Like I said, after a couple of days of going between the different cities, between the border of Iran and Pakistan, we were able to make it safely into Pakistan and essentially seek political asylum in Pakistan. The road to America wasn't straight, unfortunately. We had to go through Vienna and spend some time there so that we can get our paperwork and status. The smuggling was definitely an expense. I think it was something around like $20,000 or $30,000 at the time that they had to spend with the smugglers. But my dad had a business, and my mom had they had savings. So yeah, they really got rid of their house, and my dad got rid of his business. So pretty much just got rid of everything. In Pakistan, there was an incident where we were walking, and I think my mom stepped on something, and she got a cut, and obviously worried about infection. So we went to a doctor somebody recommended, and he was a Muslim doctor, and we understood our situation, that we just came from Iran, and that we escaped from Iran and everything like that. And he was a super nice guy, and just gave my mom the medication she needed, and said, "Don't worry about it, it's on the house," and was just super supportive of what we were trying to do, and wished us best. My parents had it hard, right? They came when they were in their 30s. The transition couldn't have been easy for them. Me and my sister, we kind of started out in first grade. I mean, we had a little bit of a language challenge, obviously, coming into the elementary school without really knowing the language. But we picked it up pretty quick, and we had a good support system, and we had good schools and good people around us, and we assimilated pretty quickly. It took my parents a little longer, right? But it was definitely toughest for my parents, because my dad had a whole business and a whole pharmacies in Iran, so he had to give that up, and it was just too difficult for him to start over from here. So he just really did whatever work came his way to really support our family for the first couple of years until he started his own businesses while he was here. And I guess that kind of gave me the motivation to also work hard and forge my own path as I got older. One takeaway from my journey, and also just from my 40 plus years on the planet, I think, is that the vast majority of people are good people. And although we do experience anti-Semitism from time to time, and we do see some pretty disturbing incidents and things that we see on the news, a lot of it is the media, right, perpetrating this narrative that there's a lot more evil in the world than there probably really is. So I think it's important to take that with a grain of salt, and really experience the world and meet people and from different cultures and backgrounds, and we can really, the vast majority of us really just want to get along.
My name is George. I born in Tunisia in North Africa. The life there was not so easy for a child, especially for almost baby. It was a very, very, very hard life. פעם אחת ניסו לזרוק אותי לבאר, אבל לא הצליחו, כי כמה שהייתי קטן הבנתי מה הולך. ואז הצלחתי באיזשהו דרך, בעזרת הילד, שהוא היה חבר שלי, שהוא היה בן שלהם, לברוח מהבית. כי בתוך הבית היה באר. לא היו חיים קלים, היינו צריכים לברוח כאילו. After 11 years old, I sailed with a small ship to French. באו יהודים ולקחו ילדים מתוניס והעבירו אותם לצרפת. וככה גם אני הגעתי לצרפת, ומשם לישראל. כי אי אפשר, ליהודים לא נתנו לצאת, היו צריכים לברוח. And I stayed in French 1 year. In French, we didn't do nothing. We didn't have some problem with people. We didn't have no problem. We just stayed at the place where we are. Then I sailed to Israel. אני הייתי תמיד לבד. המשפחה שלי גדלה לחוד. אני גדלתי לבד. שעזבתי את תוניס, ועד אחרי הצבא הייתי לבד. זאת אומרת, במשך 10 שנים. זאת אומרת, גדלתי לבד, מילד קטן לגבר. And from there, we go to Israel. In Israel, I come, they give us a tent, a small tent. And on Nitzanim, I stayed there a few years. And even school, it wasn't so well. We didn't learn so much. We didn't learn. Nobody teach us. It means like every child to learn mathematics or to learn English or to learn something. Nobody teach us. לא קל לעזוב בית ולעבור למקום אחר ולגדול. Until I go to some kibbutz of Israel. And this kibbutz, they take the kids. And those kids like me, the name is, we are kids out of kibbutz. It means ילדי חוץ. And they give us very, very hard work. They take us to clean the cow or the of the poultry. הילדים מתחלפים כל הזמן, אבל יש שומר שהוא קבוע, שהוא עובד בלילה, הוא אחד עם הילדים. לא היה לנו אנשים שישמרו עלינו. הצבא לא היה מספיק, הצבא קטן בישראל, אבל לא פחדנו. אפילו שהערבים היו באים, קראו למחבלים פדאיונים, קראו להם פדאיון, ואנחנו כילדים לא פחדנו, באמת שלא. המקום היה די מסוכן, היינו ליד עזה, אבל לא פחדנו, באמת שלא פחדנו, זה חשוב. אם אין אמונה אין תקווה, ולאהוב את עם ישראל ואת מדינת ישראל, כי בלי מדינת ישראל, חס וחלילה ושלום, גם העם היהודי לא יהיה. איפה שאני גדלתי קצת, מילד לנער, לבוגר, היינו ליד עזה. ואז בלילה היינו שומרים. אז לילדים נתנו מקל. עם מקל שמרנו, עם בן אדם מבוגר. כשבן אדם מבוגר היה לו רובה צ'כי. ואנחנו הילדים היינו מקל, כי אין נשק. וככה שמרנו על המקום, על האדמה, על השטח, על ניצנים, על המקום שהיה שם. The best country and the best place to live is Israel. The best of the best. אם אין לי יהדות, אין לי מה לעשות בישראל. אני נמצא פה כי אני יהודי. אני כבר כילד, כבר לא הכרתי את המשפחה שלי. זה מישהו אחר. ואז אמרו לי שבאונייה אמא שלי תבוא, והיא תבוא עם הילדים, שני אחים שלי הקטנים, אז הלכתי והבאתי אותם, לקחתי אותם מהאונייה. העבודה הראשונה שלי שאני עבדתי, זה לשפשף רצפות בבית המשפט. לעשות, לנקות, בשביל להביא אוכל הביתה. הייתה אימא והיו אחים, ואני הייתי הגדול, ואז אני גמרתי צבא, אז הלכתי לאמא לגור. אז ככה, אני צריך לעזור למדינה, ולשאול מה המדינה צריכה ולא מה אני צריך. לא, אני לא חושב שאני שייך לעדות המזרח בכלל, אבל אני לא שייך לאף עדה. אני שייך לעם היהודי, אני שייך ל-12 השבטים, כולם ביחד. אין לי הבדל בין אם הוא בא מתוניס, או אם הוא בא מרומניה, או אם הוא בא מארצות הברית, או אם הוא בא מדרום אפריקה. זה לא משנה לי בכלל. לי חשוב יהודי, ציוני, נאמן למדינת ישראל.
My name is Laura Abaja. I was born on January 21, 1984 in Casablanca, Morocco. I was raised there until I was 19 years old. My best friends back then came to America because her family siblings were already in Fort Lee, New Jersey, where I am today. And she pushed me to come with me, come with me. It was the year that Intifada started. So in France, we started seeing more anti-Semitism and problems there. My brothers and my siblings who were already living there advised me, why don't you go with your friend? America is the new thing, and Jews over there are safe. Give it a try. So I started learning about English, and I applied to Stern, YU, because this is the only university my parents would let me go, because it's staying in a Jewish environment. And I got accepted. So I called my mom. I said, I got accepted. I'm out of here. I still remember the first time I left, I still remember the feeling of being on my first flight. It was the excitement of going to America for the first time. But once I got to the plane, I was like, oh my God, I'm on my own. I'm going to a country that I don't speak any word. I don't know if I'm going to understand them. I only have the address of the dorm on a paper. I hope it's the right address. What am I going to tell the cab driver? I started being stressed. So meanwhile, my mom called someone she knew who was a student for 1 year already before me. She started crying, obviously, on the phone and asked her, can you please meet Laura at the airport? I don't know if she's going to be able to do it on her own. So thank God I found this friend who drove me to the dorm for the first time. So being in an American college, the first year was very hard because I didn't understand anything. After 1 week of college, I remember calling my older brother and cried. I told him I'm wasting time. I spent all day in classes and leaving a few hours later, I feel like I wasted time. I didn't understand anything. He goes, I don't care, you're gonna do it. Thank God, 4 years after I graduated. So my husband, the first time I met him was my first Shabbat here in America. I was invited to Fort Lee for a Shabbat, but we didn't date back then. We just introduced each other. We started dating a few years after. Every time there was a war in Israel or attacks, it's true that in Morocco, we always were scared as Jews. We always had that time of like panic, what should we do? Should we stay at home? No. But thank God the king, no matter which one, I grew up with the father of the king today, and they always loved Jews. And the number one rule is to respect us and to always protect us. And that was always in all his speeches. So no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, he always said when there would be a speech, don't forget that we are Moroccans in this country, no matter what's your religion. America changed me in a lot of ways. It opened my mind a lot, again, to cultures, to different views. It's just a bigger world. If I had stayed in Morocco, I don't think I would see life the way I see it today. It made me much stronger, being alone, very far from my parents, learning a new language, making it here to get my student visa and my working visa and graduating, all the steps. And today as a mom also, every day is a challenge. I didn't know anything about schools. I didn't know all the difference, early childhood, elementary. Next year I'll be learning about middle school. When it was time for me to choose college, I wanted to go to Israel. Because also in Morocco, when you finish high school, most of the students go to France or Israel. That year was Intifada. So my mom is like, there is no way I'm sending you there. She's like, you're going to France, you're going with your siblings. And then thank God my brother kept on pushing. She has nothing to do here. Go to America. With my friend who was pushing me to. And I would give to the generation, whoever will see this, is don't judge people from where they come from. And if you can travel the world and see the different cultures, it's beautiful, really. To see Jews from Morocco, from Syria, from anywhere, from Israel, from America, I think it's beautiful. To learn all the cultures and not to be just in one bubble. Come on, guys. You sit with me, enlève ça.
My name is Liam.
My name is Adele. My name is Emma.
My favorite food
My favorite food is dafina.
It's like a potato with rice and like
Yeah, but can you say when we eat it?
Shabbat. I'm proud to be a Moroccan Jew because I get to go to Morocco a lot.
I'm proud to be a Moroccan Jew because I get to learn French and speak a different language. I like to be Moroccan because it's what my mom speaks like.
My dad is a jeweler, so he was making himself. He had a factory, and he was selling to people. When the king, not the actual king, the father, had to marry one of his daughters, they wanted specifically a Jew because they truly believe that whatever is made by a Jew brings more luck and parnassa and health.
Favorite custom is in Pesach, the plate with all
The seder.
the seder, we put it on top of the head and we sing a song.
My name is Moshe E. I was born and raised in Israel. My both parents were born in Baghdad, in Iraq. They came to Israel in 1951. Generally speaking, it was very good to the Jews. Part of the deal when the Israeli government had that agreement with the king of Iraq, they were only allowed to take 5 kilo per person, each bag. And it's, I mean, my aunts that are a little bit older than my parents, my mother, I think she came in when she was 4 or 5 years old. They left everything. They couldn't take nothing. They were allowed to take a bag with clothing. I remember one of my aunts, which were older than my mother, she told me she had golden ring, and you know, as she go to the airplane, the security guard like ripped the earring from her until today she have a little scar under where she have the earring hole. And he just ripped it off and was like, you're not taking the gold with you, and there's nothing you could do. You couldn't say anything. If you would say something, they would not let you on the plane, right? So it was very tricky. Some people tried to take some golden money with them, which they were not allowed, and they would take it off. And they would each one of them would get, I think today we call it like a white passport. It's a one-way passport that refugees have. Like I know people that came from Russia in the 80s and 90s had that also. The government will give them each this document, and it would say Bara Walaja. Bara Walaja in Arabic, it's mean out without come back. It was a one-way ticket. So they were allowed to leave and never come back. And they really were stripped off of all their belonging. Like other than clothing, they didn't take anything with them. Traditionally, each family would live in like a U-shaped complex where the older grandparents or the grand-grandparents live on the sides, and then as the generation get closer, they'll live all together. I remember she told me we never locked the doors, we never had thieves in there were not such a thing, criminals between the Jewish community towards the Jewish community. There was no such a thing, because if anybody would do anything, it would just get expelled from the community. And expelled from the community back then meant that nobody does business with you, nobody can marry you, nobody talks to you in the street. Society was very protective of themselves, very trustworthy of each other. They had no crime or anything like that, so they were very good there. However, as we stated, as the fear of the Muslim world grew, that they're going to lose Jerusalem and the land of Israel, so there was a lot of riots, like the Farhoods and other things. So it became a little bit uncomfortable. Some people wanted to leave, some people thought they should stay, but in the end, there wasn't a bomb, I think. There was a fire in the market, and then there was a bomb put in one of the synagogues in Iraq, and that convinced everybody to leave. The society, I think it was the entire Middle Eastern society. The rabbis had power. In some cases, I think in Iraq, actually, I know for a fact in Morocco, but I'm almost sure in Iraq as well, they had their own court system. And that court system was respected and accepted by the king, to the point that some Muslims sometimes would ask to be judged by the rabbis, because they knew that the Jewish court is the best court, is the most righteous court, and the only way for them to get real justice is through the Jewish courts. So always be welcome, always respect the other, and always be there to help, because I think the Middle Eastern Jews, this is their concept, always to help, always to be welcoming, and even if you have just one plate of rice, share it with your neighbor if you have to.
השם שלי תרס ולאה. נולדתי בתוניס. אני לא הגעתי גדולה, אבל יש לי קצת זיכרון מתוניס. אבא מאוד רצה לבוא כציוני לישראל. ואנחנו לא כל כך, אמא לא כל כך רצתה. אבל באנו, וכמובן הגענו למקום שזה לא הכי נעים, זה בדימונה, ואנחנו לא רגילים לגור ככה בהרים, בחולות. ואז, אבל אבא מאוד מאוד שמח שהוא בא לארץ, מאוד שמח. זה הזיכרון שלי, אני זוכרת שהייתי בגן שמה, ודיברנו רק צרפתית, בצרפת. גם בשבת אפילו היינו הולכים לגן. היו לנו ממש המון דברים ששלחו דרך בתוך האונייה, הייתה בבטן של האונייה, ומזוודות ובגדים וכל מיני דברים. אפילו משחקים הבאנו משם, אבל זה היה הכל בתוך הבטן האונייה, ואנחנו לקחנו כמובן כמה מזוודות שהיינו מהילדים, היינו 4 ילדים, 4 אחים היו לי שמה. אולי יומיים אני חושבת נסענו, אבל אחר כך התרגלנו, כשהיינו בגן עם הילדים והתרגלנו, היינו בסך הכל 10 משפחות, זה מה שהיה בדימונה, כי הם פיזרו את כל האנשים שהיו באונייה, לא באנו כולם ביחד באותו מקום בדימונה, פיזרו אותנו בכל מיני מקומות, בתל אביב, בחיפה, בירושלים, אנחנו לקחו אותנו לדימונה, ואחרי דימונה, אחרי שנה, נסענו לבאר שבע, גרנו בבאר שבע כל הזמן, משנת 56, עד היום המשפחה שם נמצאת בבאר שבע. היו חפירות שלא היו ללכת להיכנס לממ"ד או לאיזה מקום. היה לנו כמו חפירות כאלה, כולם חפרו ונכנסנו בפנים, בתוך החפירות. ונסתרנו, ממש נסתרנו מהפגזים שיהיו שם במלחמה, כן. בגלל שיש לו ילדים קטנים. האמת, אנחנו חשבנו לעלות לצרפת, לא לארץ, אבל לא יצא. אז הגענו לארץ, וכל הזמן היא לא הסכימה בשום אופן להיות פה. אבל בסוף היא הגיעה וטוב לה, והיה לנו טוב, והביאה עוד ילדים, והיה הכל בסדר. כן, כל המנהגים של טוניס, אמא המשיכה עם זה, כן. התחלתי לחשוב, אמרתי, איפה אנחנו הולכים עכשיו? לאן הולכים? ואז כל הזמן אבא דיבר, אל תדאגו, יהיה בסדר, ויהיה לכם כיף, ויהיה לכם טוב. ושמענו בכל אבא, מה שאמר אבא, אז הסכמנו. הייתי בצד, לא רציתי לדבר עם אף אחד, ולאט לאט התחברנו עם זאת. ילדים, זה לא, אם הייתי מבוגרת קצת יותר, אולי היה יותר קשה, אבל בגלל שהייתי עוד צעירה, אז מתחברים, צ'יק צ'ק. ידעו אנשים. בגלל זה הערבים התהפכו על היהודים. כי שמעו שזה, ואז התהפכו. הם כעסו מאוד שאנחנו עזבנו שם. אבל בעלי כן, הוא נסע מהחיות שלו, מהמשפחה שלו. והוא אומר שהיה כיף, הוא הגיע בן 9 לארץ. ואז הוא זוכר יותר ממני דברים, כן? ואז הוא אמר שזה ממש מרגש, כי היה להם שם בית וחנות והמכוניות. הם במקרה השאירו את הכל והלכו. עזבו את הכל מה שיש להם, אבל אנחנו לא, אנחנו ארזנו הכל וזה ולקחנו לארץ הכל.
My name is Shoshana Aida. Baghdad had the biggest community for Jews. They had hundreds of thousands of Jews. They had few synagogues, some people, and schools also. Hospitals, schools, everything that you asked for, the Jews were there. The only thing is that life started changing for very, very bad. I mean, it was after the 1948. We had no other place to go, only to Israel. That was the only place who took us. The Iraqi government said that they're going to take all the houses that belong to the Jews. The government will take the properties and everything. So my father sold the house, and the only thing he could do is put the money in a bank. After some time, the Iraqi government took all the money from the banks, so my parents were without money, and only my father continued working, and we had to move few times to rental houses pay rent, and we had no more house, no more money in the bank. We were in school, which was the best school in Iraq, in Baghdad, which was with Christians, Jews, and Muslims. Really very good one. And when I was in second grade, few months after we started the year, the teacher asked who registered for Aliyah. I raised my hand, and she told me, okay, you can go home, don't come back. And we were not allowed at all to get out of the house. We had a high gate, nobody could get in, but they threw all the time shoes and stones and cursing and everything from out of the property that we were there. The house was rented because we had no more house of our own. We were inside, and only my father went to work every day and came back, and did the shopping. And we were stuck in the house. It was awful. There were Muslim women sitting there searching everyone, including children. They thought maybe we are hiding something in pockets, maybe we're hiding something in clothing. So they were searching, and they opened the suitcases. The first thing they saw, the pictures and the documents, everything. They took whatever they wanted or they threw away. What's left in the suitcases was clothing. They didn't let anybody take anything. Even if they saw jewelry, they took the jewelry. They tell everybody you can take only 10 dinar. That was the money, 10 dinar per person. And go up on the plane, and whatever they took from the suitcase, that went to the garbage. All the documents, all the pictures, and all the birth certificates, everything went to the garbage. We came to Israel on a plane. The pilots were American pilots, Jewish American pilots who volunteered to take the Jews from Iraq to Israel. They told us to go on a big truck, open truck, from the airport to Atlit. To Atlit, it's a place used to be British Army camp. Previously, British Army camp. They put all those people who came to Israel in that place. So we were people coming from Poland, from Romania, from Hungary, from all over, and from Iraq. All of us in that camp. My father had few documents when we came to the airport. They gave him a document that he's a refugee from Iraq. He put it in his pocket, and on the way to the camp, everything flew out of the pocket. He didn't know. He came to the camp, and they said, where are your papers, where you came from? And he looked, and he said that, oh, I lost everything on the way. It was very windy, and things lost from his pocket in the wind and whatever. It was open truck. And they said, how did you get here? And they thought he's a spy. We were in a tent. We slept in tents. It was summertime, June or July. It was difficult until we left and had our own house. But for ourselves, children, 3 children, it was heaven. We could go to the park. We could go to friends. We could go to school. We could go outside and play and do everything we want. No Arabs, nobody, no bad people around us. Everybody around us was Jewish. So it was heaven.
My name is Mark Shalom. I was born in Egypt, and I was born in 1940. The war broke out, and a little later, he gets a knock on the door, like that, and somebody comes to the door, and he says to him, I'm King George. I need you in the army. You're drafted. So he had to go in the army, and that's how I was born in Egypt. There was a draft there at the time. You had to go. Mm-hmm. So what happened was he went to the army for 2 years. I liked school, so I stayed. I graduated when I was 16, and what happened was I went to junior college for 2 years till I was 18. My father tells me He says, now what are you going to do? You know what's going to happen. You're going to get drafted. So I says, honestly, I don't know. So my father had cousins, and he called up one of them, and he told him, I would like to send my son to the United States. Could you help him if he comes? He says, sure, I could help him. So I tried to emigrate to the United States. Unfortunately, that year, the quota was full. They only let a certain amount of people into the country from each country into the United States. I could not come to the United States that year, but I had to leave England, otherwise I would get drafted. So I could emigrate to any Commonwealth country. I could emigrate to Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, or Canada. I chose Canada because that's the closest thing to the United States. I emigrated to Canada on a ship. My father told me, when you get off the ship, this is what you're going to do. You're going to have to go through customs and immigration. When you go to the immigration, you tell them you want a 6 months visitor's visa because you're going to go visit your uncle in New York. When I got off the ship, everybody has to go through immigration and customs. So when I go through customs, you know, do you have anything to declare? No, I have nothing to declare because I didn't have anything. All I had was one suitcase and I had some clothes in it. But when you go through immigration, they ask you questions. What are you going to do? Where you going? Why are you coming? So I told them I'm going to go visit my uncle in New York. I want a 6 months visitor's visa. So he looks at me, he looks at my passport, and he stamps my passport, 6 months visitor's visa. I go through Canada and I get on a train from Montreal to New York. I have no family. I don't have friends in Canada. I have nobody. I came to New York. I met my uncle. He got me a place to live with a man and his wife, Ashkenaz people. They had a small house that they rent rooms. They live in the basement and they have 2 bedrooms upstairs on the 2nd floor. So I lived in one of the bedrooms. My uncle got me this place to live. That was, in those days, a lot of money. You know what? I'll try to get a job in a retail store. And that's exactly what happened. This way he has a weekly salary. My brother finished the army, he came to the United States, and at the same time, my father was going to make another trip to the United States to sell his merchandise. And then that was the time that he said, okay, the intention was not to stay in the United States. Always the intention was to go to Canada and live there. So he came and he tried to set us up in an apartment and so forth. And he did set us up. Then he tells us, as I'm looking at the apartment, in the area of the apartment, I saw a very big factory near the, where we were going to live. He said, you should go there and see if you can get a job. So that's what happened. Me and my brother went to this factory and applied for a job. What it was, they used to make airplanes for the United States Air Force. It was a tremendous, tremendous factory. So we got in there, we applied for the job. I got a job and my brother got a job. We were working 5 days a week, and I was working on the assembly line. And that's what I was doing. I was making a certain part for the airplane. But also because at the time I liked school and I was taking certain subjects, not the regular subjects. I could pick the subjects that I wanted to take to be an accountant. So when I was in Canada, I was working 5 days a week in the factory. And then I applied to an accountant's office, working 2 nights a week. Number one, to make some more extra money, and also to learn to be an accountant, how to do things. And that's exactly what happened. Let me tell you something, guys. You have to like what you're doing. It's very, very important. The other thing, you're going to go through some ups and downs, so to speak. Not everything is easy. Not everything goes the way you want it. So you're going to have some ups and downs. Hopefully you'll be able to like what you're doing.